It's not every day that I get a chance to talk to a couple of authors, to an organizer, to a productivity coach, to a former television host of an amazing kids show, Romper Room. But I've rolled all that up together to do just that. So pleased to be joined by Anne Gorecht. She's on the top left of your screen, and Noreen Music is top right. Anne and Noreen, thanks for taking some time to join us from Calgary, Alberta today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Listen, it's a beautiful day here, finally getting some spring weather in Halifax where I am. The typical question, right? How's the weather? What's it like out there in Calgary today?
It's raining.
I'll send you some sun. How's that?
Okay.
So I mentioned off the top, Anne, you're an author. You've got a brand new book out. I Am a Big Brother with a Superpower. We'll get to that in a second. Again, that history of being the host out in Calgary of Romper Room. And Noreen, of course, you're a productivity coach, also an organizer, professional organizer, part of Professional Organizers in Canada. You're also an author, authored a book, The Unexpected Entrepreneur, which my girlfriend Julie and I currently reading and loving. But I've got to ask, how did this connection happen between Anne and Noreen?
Well, I needed help in getting my book published. I had the book written, but I needed to get it worked on and out there. And there it is on the shelf. And I don't know if you've read it yet. Have you read it, Scott?
I haven't read it yet, but it is on my list of things to get when I go to the bookstore in the mall here over the weekend. I actually checked it out online and on Amazon as well. Lots of places you can get the book, and it's got a really cool theme to it. So I'm looking forward to chatting about that in just a second. And for you, Noreen, as mentioned, you're a productivity mastery coach, you're a professional organizer. How did you kind of get led into the world of Anne?
Well, we were connected through a fellow organizer, and because she was moving on, leaving the city. And so I met Miss Anne, and she decided that she wanted me to help her and work with her. And we've organized her files and organized different places in her home. But then she also had this book that she was needing to get published. And so because I had also published a book just the year before I had launched my book, it was a perfect match of what she needed and my skills.
A match made in literary heaven, shall we say. And the book that you've written, as I mentioned, I Am a Big Brother with a Superpower. It's basically about a little boy who's got a new baby sister coming. And he learns that to kind of help him deal with the anxiety and some of the feelings of that, he learns how to control his breathing. And that's his superpower. Where did this idea come from? Obviously, hosting a kids show once upon a time in your life, you'd have, a connection with kids. But where did this idea come from, Anne?
I guess it came from watching my great-grandchildren. There's a little boy, and then comes along a new baby. And I watched some of his reactions, and I saw how difficult it really is to lose the handle of being the baby to not being the baby, and he has to hand that over, and it's difficult. And I was having a conversation with my grandson, and he wasn't living in the city at the time, so we were doing FaceTime, and he said, I asked him how his day was, and he said, not good. And so I said, what's the matter? He said, I was coloring with my sister. And I asked her name is Charlie. I said, Charlie, would you please pass me the red crayon? And Charlie turned her head, looked him in the eyes, and said, no. And that was it. And so he was very hurt. Of course, she has no idea she's hurting his feelings. And so that sort of sparked that it was really hard for him, and because he shared that with me, thought about it, and I thought there's nothing out there that really helps young children accept a baby brother or sister. And that's how it started, with that little conversation.
What was the process like of going from idea to actually seeing your book in print?
I've read a lot of books to children on Romper Room, and then I volunteered at the YMCA, and I was the story lady for a few years. And so I've read many books, watched the reactions, and of course, reading to my great grandchildren. So that's it started, and I thought, and I was interested in writing something for children. And I had written one book already. It's called Charlie Choppers Grows and Grows, and it's about choosing food in order to help you grow and give them the idea that food that helps them have energy and so on. So that was the first book I wrote, and that's years ago. But I decided COVID came and I had the time to do that. So I chose to write this book. And I found an amazing illustrator, and she's in Okotoks, which isn't too far away from here. And she's a wonderful woman, and she's visually challenged, I guess you call it. And we just did a demonstration a week ago together at a school where they were catering to children, grades 1 to high school, who might like to be authors or illustrators. And so we both got together and did a wonderful day with children, and it worked out really well. And so I'm on another journey, and I'm really enjoying it.
It's a beautiful story, and what a journey you're on, and you've had many. And what was it like for you when you saw your idea that was in your head, and you know, I'm sure that you thought visually what it would look like, but when you finally saw it with the illustrations and the words on paper, and you got to hold that first copy in your hand and crack that cover and look at it, what went through your mind?
Oh, I was just thrilled. I was thrilled. And, you know, there are details that you see that you think maybe I should have done it differently. But the more I look at it, the happier I am with it. And I see I read the book to some of the students on 2 weeks ago. But I can see it as a book that the mother, father, grandparents can share with the child who has to go through the acceptance of somebody else in their life. And I think I've done a good job. I'm really happy with it. And I must say, the first day that I laid out the pages with the guidance of Noreen, we set it out all on the table, and each page was there. The drawings weren't there yet, but even that was an exciting moment when I saw, there it is, it's going to be put together as a book, and hopefully the message will go through. I asked my granddaughter, who was visiting, and I said, can I read the book to you all? And, it didn't have the pictures or anything. And the first draft, she said, it's too sad. So I had to lighten it up a little bit. So, with each draft, it progressed into other things, and here it is. And I think it really has a lot of heart and a lot of feeling that helps the child to understand what's going on. It was difficult to figure out how I'm going to give him his superpower, but I found a way, and I think it really does give the message by sharing breathing exercises. And that you'll see in the book, one of my favorite pictures is where he has a meltdown and he's kicking and screaming on the floor, and the artist has done that so well. So I think children will identify with it and have the feeling, and that's what I'm hoping for, and I think it will happen.
Well, what a remarkable life of just being a incredibly wonderful role model for children throughout the majority of your life. That's so incredible. And for Noreen, for you, when you made this connection with Anne and she talked about some of the ways that you were able to help her from the writing of the book and the putting it together part of it. What was that journey? What was that experience like for you?
Well, for me, it was an incredible honor to see Miss Anne at work doing her writing. She's so incredibly gifted and talented. She's got this wonderful sense of humor and this just this talent for storytelling. And she loves children. The whole process was all about, what would be the best message for the children and their families. And so I have felt completely honored to be alongside Miss Anne in this book writing journey, and now to see it come to life and to launch it. So
very cool. And it's almost like your entire life was preparing you to write a children's book and to go into that next chapter, if you will, of your life. Now let's talk about the organizing part of things, because I gotta bring you full screen here for a second, Anne.
Yeah.
It's so organized behind you. You got your little Romper Room, little statue there to one side, your book behind you, the closet doors open, everything looks so great. I had no idea that professional organizing was a thing. My girlfriend Julie is a professional organizer, and she told me about professional organizers in Canada, what they do. I'm blown away. I'm thinking all the times in my life I could have gone, hey, I need a professional organizer. Can you come help me? So what was that journey like, coming together, the book aside, the organization part of it, and being able to help Anne put that organization into her life, for lack of a better way to put it?
Well, there's the organization piece is the fact that there's so many details involved in writing a book, getting a book illustrated, getting it published. And so, Miss Anne is 91. She's got other things going on in her life. And so I gave her the ability to, to get the book done. And so I would organize the meetings and the publisher and keep everything on track. And so that's how I really supported Miss Anne through this book writing journey and help to keep her organized.
And Anne, for you, I know from my personal experience, I didn't know I needed an organizer in my life until my girlfriend Julie came into my life and started organizing things that I'm now going, oh, why did it take me so long to organize that? Yeah. But what was that process for you, having someone like Noreen, who is trained in this, and this is what she does, to come into your life and help you organize? What was that like for you?
Well, I know that it wouldn't have happened without her. It wouldn't have. And it was getting the pages that were just pages out on the table in order. And that was a wonderful moment. I thought, yeah, this is really going to go. And it changed me. And I've got my other books in my office organized. She mentioned that it's really better to organize your books by color. I thought, that's ridiculous. I'm never going to find my books. I'll never find what topic I want. And you usually have it in topics or authors. And so she did it. And every day I'm so thrilled to find, and it's easy to find the book in color. Well, what color will it be? And you just go through it and you'll find it. And it looks good. It feels good. So she's been indispensable. And as I say, I wouldn't have gotten it published without her. So I'm very, very grateful. And I recommend organizers to everybody.
How does that make you feel when you hear someone of the stature of Anne say that this book wouldn't have gotten done without you? What's that make you feel like?
Well, it makes me feel pretty amazing. I love Miss Anne. I mean, there are clients and then there are special people like Miss Anne. And as much as I've given her through this process and helped her write this book, she has inspired me. She has loved on me. She has given me as much, if not more, in return. So it's this beautiful relationship. And I'm very grateful to Miss Anne. I love you.
I love her.
You can see the genuine sparkle in both of your eyes and the genuine smiles as you talk about one another. Goodness, I feel all warm and fuzzy just seeing the interaction between the two of you. But I do have to expand on the color coding system for the books. I go back to libraries when it was the Dewey Decimal System, right? You had to look it up and then go find it, or organized by author or genre or whatever. So can you give a little insight of how you organize books by color?
Well, we organize them. We just put all the red books and blue books and white books, and you organize them by the rainbow, the color of the rainbow. And it just aesthetically, it just looks beautiful. So it's one way of organizing. There are other ways of organizing books, but that way in particular is quite beautiful.
So it's based on the color of the cover. It doesn't matter who the author is, what the subject matter is. If it's a white cover, it goes with the white books. Blue cover, blue book, etc.
So
I think and you've said you've come now to appreciate that. It actually helps you find books now.
Really easily. You know, I have I know the title of the book. I might know the author, and so I just start going through the rainbow, and I find it.
And I'm going to go full screen with you. I'm looking behind you, and I'm saying, you know what? Yeah, look. Up to you over your left shoulder screen, right? There's a bunch of white covers, and then there's some yellow directly behind you. So there's going to be people listening and watching this that are going to go, oh, I need to go organize all of my books by color right now. What an easy way to do it. You don't have to worry about alphabetical, numerical, just colors with colors like the rainbow. What a great, great way to do it. So we'll wrap up here shortly, but I want to ask as well, you've built this relationship now around the book, both being authors, the organizational piece. What's the relationship going to be like now going forward for both of you? It seems that you've become fast friends, organizing or not. What types of things will Anne and Noreen get up to or get into? Let me ask you first, Anne.
I'm going to do my memoir. And I think it'll be helpful. But the first thing we're doing together is, of course, launching the book, and that's going to be on the 13th of June, and it will be at one of the bookstores here in Calgary, Owl's Nest, and it's an independently owned book, and I'm happy to do it there. So.
Like the little shop around the corner, Owl's Books in Calgary, Alberta on June 13th.
Right.
And what's that going to be like for you, Noreen, for the big book launch?
Well, we're planning all the details, and of course, I'm going to be there supporting Miss Anne and her family in the background, and just being there to cheer her on and to celebrate this big achievement that she's accomplished. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm a storyteller too, so I belong to a storytelling group, and I showed it to one of the storytellers. In fact, she taught storytelling at SAIT, and I took the course. This is years ago, and I showed her the book, and she loved it because she's an older sister, and she has a younger sister. And they've never really quite hit it off. And they're doing very well since she read the book.
Well, that's a wonderful story in and of itself right there. That's remarkable. Well, Anne Grusht from CHCT-TV in Calgary in 1960, being Miss Anne on Romper Room, to being Miss Anne, the author of I Am a Big Brother with a Superpower, book launch June 13th in Calgary. What a pleasure it has been to meet you and to speak with you. And Noreen Music, a professional organizer, a productivity mastery coach, and author of The Unexpected Entrepreneur. Two worlds coming together to make this wonderful conversation. I thank you so much. And Miss Anne, if you don't want to, it's okay. But if you would you indulge me with a romper, bomper, stomper, boo? Would you do that for me? Because that was my biggest thrill watching Romper Room.
Romper, bomper, stomper, boo. Tell me, do. Did all my friends have fun at play today? Ah, I see Scott in my magic mirror.
Oh. Be still my heart. In 23 years of broadcasting, that has become a top 3 moment right there. I'm not even joking. Thank you. That was wonderful. I feel special. I feel like you saw me through your magic mirror, which we now call virtual on-screen, on-camera interviews. Thank you very much for doing that.
Thank you, Scott.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks so much. And again, all the best with everything that you both do going forward. And super excited about that book launch on June 13th.
Thank you.
Thank you.